everybody, this is Mike, and today we're going to talk about the June position report, as well as a few other things. We have a couple guests here with us. The June position report is the 11th position report of the 25 crop year. We'll get into some of the details of that kind of as the conversation progresses, but at broad strokes, it has been a very good report, in my opinion, for the industry at large. So the guests that we have here is Kaushik from India. Kaushik, thank you for coming. And we also have Gunjan. Gunjan, thank you for coming. So real quick, Kaushik, could you maybe introduce yourself, kind of what you do, what your role in the industry is?
Yeah. Basically, we are importers of in-shell almonds and almonds for India. And we have good processing capacity for in-shell almonds in India. Yes.
And so you import in-shell almonds, and
Yes.
then what do you do?
We process, we pack in our brands and sell all over to India. Yes.
And Gunjan?
So, hi, I am from Natraj, the brand name. We are the largest processor and handler of overall nuts and dried fruits into India. We are a brand name present across every supermarket shelf, every quick com, every e-com, all mom and pop stores. So Natraj basically in the Indian language means king of nuts.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where we are. And it's a 4-generation-old family company.
Okay.
It's our 100th year this year.
Right on.
It's a centenary year. And on that, I also am the president of the Nuts and Dried Fruit Council, which is the industry body for the overall nuts and dried fruit trade in India.
Okay.
So big wins there as an industry body. So it's been a good journey.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you guys for coming. I think I'd like to talk about a lot of things. Definitely, I think we'll get into the position report at some point here. But I think for our grower base, okay, maybe explaining a little bit of the dynamic in India. I know maybe we can start at the beginning with you guys import in-shell almonds, kind of how you guys then convert them into your retail products, and then maybe talk about the changing landscape of retail in India. I think, maybe going back to the beginning, there's been a general, hypothesis amongst Californians, maybe the grower base in California, that in-shell almonds are still basically hand-cracked in India. Is that still true? How has that changed, if it has?
No, not at all. Now India is very advanced in shell almonds cracking. Almost everyone has a very good cracking capacity of cracking in shell almonds. It's not by hand at all.
Yeah.
We crack it in automation plants and wood segregation, Sortex
Right.
Sortex cleaning, then X-ray cleaning, everything cleaning, and hand pickup is there definitely, because that's the reason that Indian almonds are much better quality. Kernels are of much better quality. What gradation we give of a different size
because
and color.
So just to recap that, so basically we ship in-shell almonds to India. It's all being machine cracked,
Yes.
sorted and graded.
Yes, right.
Okay. Can you maybe debunk some of the theories as to why there is a tariff differential on kernels versus in-shell?
So before going into that, let's talk about how it's done in India.
Yep.
Although it is mechanized, but we are still doing it in a slightly different way compared to how it's done here with the humongous crackers and all.
Yeah.
We have probably done a very wise mix of wherever you could do the manual part and where you could automate it. We have the luxury to do that because of the labor rates that we have in India.
Yes.
Right.
So we have the luxury to balance it out and take the best and optimize it the most. So why we do that in India, just before that point, is because in India, we eat with our eyes first. All the Indian subcontinent eats with their eyes first, then actually putting it in the mouth.
Yeah.
So how the product looks, how it is looking, how it is very, very important. So if you've seen Indian almonds, they are the fanciest of fancy because we really take out all the chips and scratch. If I could, I would want to change that. And we've been working on that. We're working on campaigns in India where we're saying that a scratch is not that relevant. It's not. There are myths in India that if the almond has a scratch, the Americans with their superior technology have taken out all the oil and they've just given us the what is left of it. But that's as far from truth as possible, and we've been debunking that.
Yeah.
But that is the reason, actually, that is the thought that why India wants that fancy almond.
Okay.
On the tariffs front, yes, I think it's a very big discussion that has to take place. There's industry feeling that, India has a protectionist policy. So we have a tariff of 35 rupees a kilo on in-shell. And against that, for kernels, it is 100 rupees a kilo, which is actually, if you convert the in-shell into kernel, it becomes 42, 43 rupees a kilo. So you're paying a 60% higher tariff if you have to bring in kernels. So I believe that is something that requires a change.
But maybe historically, I think there's been a general, again, idea that India was trying to encourage the importing of in-shell almonds to create jobs. Is that hypothesis correct?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It is supporting jobs because in-shell almonds require a lot of hand pickup also. Right. Because in India, as Gunjanji rightly said, is we eat first with eyes. Means everything needs nice packing, nice look, and nice taste, and everything should be nice. Yeah. So this promotes. Basic idea was, as you say earlier, that India is cracking hand crack. Yeah. So it was at that time this duty structure was formed. That a lot of labours was required. Right. For one container required 200-300 labours. Now at that time container was only 100-200. Now container is yearly almost 15,000 containers. So no doubt machines involved there, but at the same time labours is equally there. Automations and plants are still very limited. People are doing in a small scale with lot of labours. So it is a labor oriented. So okay. That is why these special benefits are there particularly for in-shell almonds. Got it. And with in-shell almonds, we are getting very good. Almond is good. Right. Whatever quality we are getting from in-shell almonds, we are never getting from kernels. What we are importing. Right. From anywhere, from Australia.
You can control your quality much better as it comes as in-shell format.
Right.
Got it. So can we talk then about maybe how the consumer or how the retail landscape has changed in India over the last 10, 15 years?
So on the retail landscape, we're seeing a big change, as is anywhere across the globe. The thing with India is we are skipping generations. And let me explain that to you. So India had a very low density of, I use the classic telephone example. India had a very low density of, the wired telephonic system going to everywhere and that. And then India just skipped the middle part and we got into mobile phones, and bam, we are now nearing to be the largest mobile phone consumers, connections worldwide and all those things. Because we just skipped that and moved to that. That's what's happening in India now. In terms of retail, supermarkets or modern trade, as it's called in India, but generally you guys would know it as supermarkets. That part of the business was pretty new. I think it just started in early 2000s and it's really picked up today. And then India moved from there to e-commerce, and now India has moved from e-commerce to quick commerce, which is, I think, unique to India, that you can get anything and everything delivered. You can get an iPhone delivered to you at your doorstep in 7 minutes of ordering that.
Guy on a bike or a moped shows up. Here you go.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that's called the quick commerce. Yeah. And so all that has really evolved and is really changing how India buys, especially, and it's moving to tier 2 also. But even today, the traditional mom and pop business or the wholesale or the traditional business is still about 70% of this.
Okay.
So it's still tip of the iceberg, but 30% of the business has moved to the supermarkets, the online, to the quick com. Having said that, the growth rate in this business, the way the growth at which this business is growing is far outgrowing the traditional setup.
Right.
So we'll very soon see a very large shift where you'll have at least 50% of the business coming in through these channels.
Right.
But the beauty of India is evolving every day. And I talk about India as a classical, there's a pyramid of consumption.
Yeah.
Our bottom is, that constitutes the 1.4 billion Indian population, 1.5 billion now. And as we speak, maybe we'll add another 100,000. But having said that, basically we move one notch down that pyramid, we add 100,000 consumers. And so what happens is everything remains relevant. For the next 20 foreseeable years, I do see while the supermarkets, the quick com, e-com, Amazons of the world will really go big guys in India, but at the same time, the smaller guys will still remain relevant because there is another sect of 100,000 consumers getting
100
added.
million, right?
Yeah.
100 million.
I mean, I'm talking like days. So you
Okay.
keep adding more consumers.
Yeah.
You're adding those, for them, those mom and shops are relevant as of now. They'll move up the value chain. But for the next 20 years, it will not be like mom and pop will disappear out of India or anything. It will still be there 20 years from now. It's just changed and moved down to the consumer.
Right. So can we talk maybe, general economics about India? I
Yes.
mean, as there's a potential decoupling between maybe it's the West at large, but more
Right.
predominantly the U.S. from China, and maybe a closer tie to India. Do you guys see that India can kind of, I guess the word would be like rise to the moment? Like, do you think that India has the infrastructure in place to kind of become what China was to the United States? Or where do you guys see, like, maybe it's geopolitically or economically, like where India goes in the next 10, 15 years as a country as a whole? Because I think if we could frame that, then you kind of see where maybe our industry fits into that big picture.
Regarding food industries, suppose we discuss about this all health foods. So awareness is increasing a lot in normal youth and Indian populations. So all healthy nuts or say protein consumptions or
Non-fried.
or non-fried, non-GMO, everything is increasing day by day.
Right.
So to match that is required huge productions, also easy availability. Suppose some in a very you go to interior places where you won't get healthy foods easily.
Yeah.
So branding of this thing and to supply each and every part of India is really necessary. So people get that all nuts easily available.
Right.
So at present, what they are getting all fried foods easily available. When they have some craving they want to have something healthy. At that time, they are not getting something healthy, but they have to eat whatever is available.
Right. So the availability across India is not there.
So when it is easily available, packaging is available to each and every parts. There are it is not like USA that Safeway, Trader Joe's and everything. It's lots of shops are there in everywhere, though there is no branding of anything. So suppose distribution channel, logistics will be fine.
Yeah.
And if everything will reach, then in 10 years growth will increase like 3-4 times from what we see today.
Right.
Yes.
If I were to talk on a macro level, a good question where we would be where China is today, I would say we are getting there in terms of how the infrastructure is being built, in terms of how everything's been done. Will we be there at the same pace as China did? I believe the answer is no. We will get there, but it will be a slightly slower journey. There's very different way the political system works. India is a complete democracy. It's the largest democracy in the world. We're very different from our neighbor where things can get done the way they want to be done immediately.
Right.
We follow a very democratic process as a country. And our government is actually working towards getting all the infrastructure in place. I think we've been building the blocks right in the last 10 years or so. I think all the building blocks are getting in place. So yeah, we will be there. We are definitely becoming more and more relevant on the international scape. But will we be there as quickly as China did? I'm not sure of that answer. I sure hope so.
Yeah.
But I believe we may take a little longer, but we will be there.
Yeah, democracy probably can be a little messy along the way rather than maybe a unipolar power system where what I say is done and that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else you guys want to talk about within India? I mean, I know we can talk population, demographics, how this huge consumer base is moving up, but as maybe India progresses through the future.
I would like to debunk that point on, the fact that India requires only in-shell and that could harm the industry here and the industry in India about if we get lower tariffs on kernels. There's a lot of debate even in the US.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've had that
very contentious.
the premium on the in-shell, India ends up paying a slight premium. other than last year, of course, and we have learned it the hard way. We needed to pay that premium upfront. We are paying a much higher premium now. But there's a big talk that if India were to have a similar tariff structure on in-shell and kernel,
Right.
number one, what will happen to the industry in US who've been investing a lot on in-shell plants? Will the premium on in-shell disappear? The answer, and I can put it down, is a categorical no, because India will keep growing as a market. As I said, that segment will always be there, which is kind of price agnostic. They're more on the quality.
Right.
They will keep buying that stuff. You will get another range of consumers where you've made it more affordable
Right.
by bringing in the kernels without the higher premium around it. So you'll actually have a much bigger market to cater to if we are able to do that.
Right.
On the India side, people have a fear that, oh, I have set up a plant, I have put in investments in the plant for cracking in-shell, I have all the labor. I keep telling people, you have to move with times. India will keep increasing the demand. There won't be enough in-shell. You guys won't be able to produce enough in-shell, and that'll lead to much higher pricing. We'll start constricting demand by not giving the product to the consumer.
Right.
So in India also, business will increase, while the in-shell business will remain as it is, because there's a certain segment of buyers that are very loyal to that kind of a product. But you'll get a new segment of buyers who are able to take the chip and scratch, take a standard 5. We're starting manufacturing processes in India. India is now almonds is becoming the second largest ingredient nut after cashew nuts. India is basically a cashew nut ingredient country where we consume about 150,000 tons of cashews as ingredients, not as snack or anything else. It's just ingredients going in your sweetmeats, in your food, in your paste. Almonds is getting there now. We're getting a lot more almond sweetmeats. We're getting almond milk is becoming popular. Almond paste is getting there. So we do feel that you'll see that more segment increase of manufactured almonds into India.
Okay, so no more future talk. Maybe we can, unless you have something you want to say.
No, nothing. Just I am endorsing whatever he said, that per capita consumption is very low in India till today, in spite of so many ingredients used, so many health bar and multiple use now in sweets and everything. Still per capita consumption is low, so there is good scope for further almond.
So we're bullish on almond consumption in India.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay. So maybe we could come to a little bit more of the here and now, where we sit today.
Yes.
Okay. So the position report was released this morning. India basically took about 3% less in the month of June than they did last year. Okay. Maybe relative to where people expected the shipments to be, maybe in line, depending on who you are. Okay. India, however, is still down about 9% for the season.
Yes.
India's max shipments for one crop year is 600 million pounds, right? That's basically your guys' all-time peak of basically shipments in a period. Could we maybe talk about the dynamics of, why is the year-to-date shipments to India down 9%? And can we talk, once we wrap that, maybe to a little bit of like new crop, a little bit about those maybe Diwali timing, things like that. So whoever wants to take this one.
I would say it's a mix of all factors. India being down on shipment numbers. It's not just that the demand wasn't there. I think there were a couple of factors. One, India was chasing prices. We were always 10 cents behind what California was. And that was primarily a reason of the last year's July disaster that happened. The objective,
some
thank
of our
God.
friends have deleted that.
Yeah.
So, okay, here we go.
And the second one is, of course, the huge shipment number that came. So there was lack of confidence.
Maybe I can clarify that. Basically, at the end of the 24 crop, there was kind of a balling up of inventory on in-shell.
Yeah.
On in-shell. And that basically took place, May through July and then kind of into August. So the 24 crop period, basically shipments increased to India pretty dramatically. I think peaking out at 44 million pounds, right? And that probably put a little bit of pressure, it probably didn't put the pressure on the buyers to run in and pay premiums for new crop when India had taken quite a bit of volume, probably May through September, May through October, right? So that kind of set the stage for the lack of premium that was being paid on in-shell for the beginning of the 25 crop.
Yeah.
Right?
And ever since that, India ended up chasing the prices. So it's a mix of both. if there were that much availability out of California, I believe the number could have been a little higher. You were looking for in-shell from time to time. It wasn't as freely available as it was in previous years.
Right.
So there was a factor to that.
So we probably made less in shell. I
Yeah.
believe we made quite a bit less in shell.
Quite a bit less, as the numbers are
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah.
overall this was probably among a very low in-shell year.
Yeah.
So that led to that. And secondly, in India, there has been a lot of demand destruction. And again, not because of pricing. So people really kind of mistake it that demand destruction is always because of pricing, that prices rose, so demand went off. No, not in India. A lot of that demand destruction took place because of the disruption in supply chains. Again, what supply chain disruption? We were moving in from an oversupply market to that. The confidence was lost. So
Right.
all across the supply chain, all across the value chain, right to a small mom and pop store's retail shelf,
Yeah.
where a pack is there. Everybody was, if that retailer was to stock 100 units, he was doing 40 because he felt, oh, prices may
Go down.
come down.
Yeah, yeah.
Same for the wholesaler, same for the semi-wholesaler, up till the importer.
Same thing in California, right? If
Right,
they're not paying a premium,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making the in-shell.
Yeah.
Right? So kind of the whole system was that way.
Yes.
So what happened is, I'm a consumer. I go to the shelf to buy almonds. What do I get from my shopkeeper? Hey, we don't have today. They'll come in tomorrow or day after.
Yeah. Buy cashews or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, as a consumer, I won't go after 2 days and eat 3 times to cover up for that. That demand is gone.
Yeah.
So India had a lot of that demand destruction because of the supply chain not being there, the confidence of people to actually
Right.
stock in on almonds at all times, down to the smallest retailer. That led to that. As a processor, we were keeping lower inventories than we should. We've had issues where the plant is running out of product and you're panicking. So that is not healthy for the overall supply chain scenario, regardless of pricing. Pricing
Right,
is
right.
a secondary thing. So that, I think, is a reason why India is seeing a low number. The second major factor was, of course, Australia came in strong this year
Yeah.
in terms of kernel shipments to India, in terms of overall numbers now, these months. The numbers have been very healthy because they were not able to move the product as much as they wanted to China.
Right.
So all that is coming into India.
Right.
So India has had a balance where we've degrown in California, but I think we've picked up some larger chunk out of Australia. Having said that, do we cover the whole thing? No, we don't.
Yeah.
And I do believe the potential of India was much more. We see a latent demand. If we are to look at it, if there were, let's say, normal supply chain, normal this, the latent demand increase in India should be somewhere about 15%. India will need to grow by 10 to 15% every year on year, if
Yeah.
things remain constant.
So then do you have anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Means consistency in any of the price structure.
Yeah.
So confidence level will increase, and then people will start having some stocks or
Yeah.
inventories.
Yeah, yeah.
At present, no one wants to keep any inventories. So everyone wants to sell just
It sounds like
anytime.
nobody has any inventory
Yes,
is
yes,
the problem.
right.
I mean, if India should be growing 15%, 10%, and you're
Right.
down 9, there, in my opinion, shows, okay, there is a basically a break in supply that's either developed now
Yes.
or is developing, right? So could we go into, I mean, maybe my opinion just a little bit. I believe we're going into a period that California hasn't necessarily experienced in 5 to 7 years. We haven't really seen the traditional start of a new crop period where in-shell is a premium, August is a premium, right? And I think that is obviously starting to develop now, right? Generally, as a whole, we see, buyers from India chasing August,
Right.
paying premiums for August's positions,
Always. Yes.
right? But that wasn't really always the case the last few years, right? And the beginning of the 25 crop was really, I think, a low point in relation to demand out of the new crop, the early kind of premium positions and, hey, hurry up, get it into the huller, pack it, ship it, and I'm going to get paid a little bit more for the first deliveries than I will a September type of position.
Yes, right.
So to me, I think that's very indicative of where we're about to go as an industry. We were talking kind of about sales this morning, right? The industry basically from January through June has sold over 1.2 billion pounds of net sales kind of accumulated each month. And the export market has basically been converting those purchases or those sales into shipments at such a rapid pace that we've never really seen that before. And if I looked at our June shipments, we were up. We were down to India, but overall we were up. And the destinations that we shipped to on kernels was much more broad than we had shipped last year in June, right? So I think it kind of indicates this general global demand.
Demand, yes.
Right? That, again, California really hasn't experienced in some time, right? And again, the backdrop of all of this is obviously this big acreage conversation, right? And maybe the demographics of the acreage, the quality of the acreage, the economics of the acreage, right? The additional acreage coming in and the acreage going out, right? And I think all of those things kind of crescendo or build to a period of probably pretty stable pricing that you see today. And in my opinion, continued stable demand, right? I think you're starting to see it out of India, right? I think we're going to see it out of other destinations as well. I think the 25 crop, just mathematically, has presented itself as the most hand-to-mouth market we've ever really experienced, right? And I think wherever the price of in-shell may be today, I think the conversation of confidence kind of at this point is, in my opinion, kind of besides the point, right? Because we know what we have. Our uncommitted inventory is now down 18% versus this time last year. And there's, items are very hard to find. And California has basically led the entire world to believe that our crop is now 2 weeks early. And that, from what we see, has exhibited itself with global customers basically asking for items in periods of time that they normally wouldn't be ready. Non-pro kernels in August, straight count pollinators basically in September. And I think that's indicative of the global buying community at large not being able to find the items that they need in the time periods in which they need them, right? So I guess from at least my perspective, that should create stability and floor on pricing, probably where you're seeing it today. And I'm happy to debate either way, right? If you guys want to beat me down on that, I'm happy to. To go. But
one thing that I feel is everybody's talking about early crop, but as the point is, the crop is early, fine. But how much of it? Maybe you guys will even produce it. Lo and behold, magic! You guys are so super efficient. Everything will be done like that. But what happens to shipping? How much will you be able to ship out in August or early August compared to what everybody's expecting? Maybe the crop is 15 days early, but is the logistics ready? Are there enough vessels to put in the crop 15 days early everywhere across the globe?
In my opinion, no. In my, especially if you talk about the non-pro, and Diwali is a little bit later this year than it was last year.
Yes, it is later.
Okay,
yes.
But there's really only about 3 or 4 vessels that leave the west coast of the United States that make it to India before the first half of October. Right.
Agreed.
So it's late. Right. So I think there's limited shipping capacity. There'll be limited volume for India at large to get the type of volumes I think that they expect to get. So hopefully, again, my opinion would be, okay, that probably should lead to more consistent demand throughout the season, right? There will be, globally, I don't think the warehouses are full. I think things that are being shipped to destination are being moved through the system. We were talking about Dubai, right? The UAE was up pretty dramatically on this position report versus a year ago, basically. I think they took about 26 million pounds, right? And from what you guys are saying, Dubai kind of sounds relatively empty, right? So the cargoes that are leaving are probably going to be moved through the system at a pace that brings people continually back into the market, right?
That's pretty much true. We are seeing that. I would say that for India too. I don't think India has a lot of spot inventory there in the cold storages as India would normally have. One, because of the interest rates, cash flows, the returns, and the fact that we have been running hand to mouth. So all that adds up to that.
Yeah.
So all that leads me to pricing.
Right. And I think it leads you to a general conclusion of maybe steadily increasing prices, barring the 26 crop coming in at 2.9 billion pounds, which I don't think people really necessarily believe. So barring that, it should be consistent demand with a healthy increase in price as we kind of prove that we can sell and ship responsibly.
That's actually the hope we have as a processor or as an importer in India. We have that hope. I would like to again debunk.
Can I say one thing though? I think in California, and maybe I'm the only guy that thinks this, but there's a general hypothesis, I believe, here that buyers always want the price to go down.
Yes, of course.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is not some moderate rate that they don't incur any losses
No,
at
so
least.
I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be very, very opposite of this. No buyer wants the price to go down. No buyer wants that. What we have to understand, and that's a myth. I think there's a big myth about India, and I've spoken, and that's something I would like to talk to the growers here. India is not a cheap market as it is stated out to be. People feel that, oh, Indians are always asking for lower prices. They're wanting the cheap, and not just for almonds. I'm not talking nuts.
Right.
I'm talking a general opinion that India is a cheap market. India is not a cheap market. India is not a dump market. India is a value market. India is one of those markets which pays obnoxious premiums for various products. There is that segment of consumer. You just need to be able to, as I said, India is a value market. Give the value proposition to the Indian consumer. If they see value in that, I don't think it's the price that matters. So you have to give it a mix of, you have to give it a balance of value to the price. On your point, do Indian buyers want lower price always? Maybe a few traditional ones feel that we need to hammer down the price. I don't agree to that.
Yeah.
Does a $2.5 in-shell pricing actually lead to, let's say, will it lead to demand getting shortfall or people not buying almonds in India? I would say nothing can be again far off truth. This is a very, strong view, and some people may not advocate that, but as long as Indian consumer will be ready to pay the $2.5 price, as long as there's enough confidence in the supply chain.
Right.
What happens is, I don't think at an end level $2.5 is a problem. The problem is today as an importer, Kaushik ji or me or anybody have a fear that, okay, I take a position at 2.5 and then 1 month of slight slow and it's going to be 2.4, then 2.3 because we are starting at a peak. So I don't think the problem is the 2.5.
Right.
The problem is the fear,
The direction.
the direction from the 2.5 because
As
we're
I say,
starting
consistency
at
is
a
required.
high.
Right. Right.
I would be more than happy. I would have been happy if we started maybe at a 2.2 and reached a 2.5.
We did.
Yeah.
It just didn't start on new crop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say we start at 2.5, then the wish list. If I were a packer, I'm a brand, what I would wish for is maybe consistent pricing or maybe a slight bump up from a 2.5 to 2.8.
Yeah.
Will the Indian consumer absorb that price? As long as it's consistent, of course they will.
Right.
But the problem is the confidence that the importer gets
Right.
to take positions at these levels.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So because from June shipment also, what I have observed that whatever has been given for prompt shipment, almost everything has been shipped. Means it is ranging from maybe from 2.35 to 2.50. Everyone has shipped.
You're talking about the prices that are on the water.
Yes, on
Okay.
the water. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So basically, India has a now inventory of almost up to 3% is almost same. Means whatever was last year is the same this
I just
year.
like to say it's down.
And
Sounds
plus we have received lots of Australian almonds also.
Mm-hmm.
So India has a now sufficient inventory. So now sufficient inventory for another 1 or 2 months because a lot of material is also there. So my opinion that US should not increase any price now. If they increase, then again demand will drop drastically, and then you have to reduce rate below the 250 because of inventory level increase in US.
Yeah, but I think that depends on global demand that California starts to see, right? And
globally also.
And
yeah.
so
I am just discussing about India.
Yeah, but I think California will have potentially more alternatives in terms of demand than we have had in the past.
Yes.
And so as in-shell price goes up, kernel prices follow it. Or as kernel prices go up and in-shell premiums don't stay equivalent, or the 10, 15 cent premium, then we're going to see California behave in a way that we just did in 25. I just won't make the in-shell. I'll go ahead and sell my kernels.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the kernels are all sold out too, and there is a lack of in-shell availability, right? So I think, dynamics in India are definitely one thing, right? But I think globally, like we all probably as buyers in destinations probably have to think about the global picture that California ends up seeing at the end of the day, right? About, okay, I can sell independence kernels to the Middle East, or I can sell independence kernels to Southeast Asia, those type of dynamics. The last point I kind of want to touch on really quick is pistachios, okay? So the pistachio crop is expected to be, let's call it 800 million pounds.
Yes.
700 as per
Okay.
the newest.
Okay, let's go with 700.
Yeah.
Let's put the price of pistachios to one side. Okay? Availability becomes an issue. Okay?
Yes.
People globally have to run a business. If, say, you're an almond and a pistachio processor, you have to run a business. And if the volume isn't there for you to run a business, what, in your opinion, let's say we've lost, the pistachio market has lost 700 million pounds of pistachios. So it was a 1.4 billion pound crop expected, but now that's down 700. Do you think that, again, price aside, almonds kind of fill in some of those physical availability losses? Are we a beneficiary of it? Does it not really matter?
I would go with it'll be almost agnostic. It won't really matter that much because that part of India, so India, most of the pistachios are consumed as roasted salted. That's about 90% of how pistachios are consumed.
In-shell roasted
In-shell
salted.
roasted salted.
Got it.
So all that, we'll see a large part of it shift to cashews more than to almonds. One, cashews are much lower than almonds this year. So overall, and in the snacking side of it, Steve, it's a roasted, salted or flavored. Cashews are still flavored on the Indian palate. They're still favoring cashews over a roasted, salted or a flavored almond in terms of that. If they were similar priced, they would pick up a cashew.
Right.
So because of that, we'll see the shift from pistachios will happen more on the side of that. Having said that, on the ingredient side, and we are seeing that already, on the ingredient side, people like ice cream manufacturers, like sweet makers, they will move. They're already doing as much cashews as they can.
Right.
So there you will see an increase in demand of almonds. You'll see a lot more increase in demand of almonds as an ingredient to replace the pistachios.
Right.
So overall, it will be a bump up, but not a substantial chunk up to really grab the whole deficit of pistachios.
Okay.
Yes.
Prediction time. Okay. Let's pretend that the July books close. India's down 9% for the 25 crop season for the reasons we discussed. Where do you think India will be at the end of the 26 crop? In terms of shipments, okay?
See, I have and I will always be very bullish on the Indian market. I mean, that's how I am. Everybody knows it. That's how I am. So I feel even this, India should cover up the gap if we are able to maintain the supply equilibrium, that there's enough goods.
Yeah.
And we don't see big falls or rises in the market. If we see a stable pricing, I believe India would be up at least double digits, at least above 10% year on year. That's the potential India has for sure.
Yeah.
We as an industry, right from the growers, California processors, Indian importers, Indian brands, we all have to work together to go and capture that demand. That demand is out there. That demand of a 10%, 15% growth is there.
Yeah.
We just have to work together, have enough confidence in the commodity, keep having inventory in India, enough inventory, and I feel if we have that, we'll see at least a 10, 15% growth.
Kasha?
Yeah, of course.
You seem on the more bearish side of things. So I'd like to hear.
I am not
Yeah.
bearish side. I am on consistency side. What I say, see, demand is there, India growth is there, every awareness is, as I already told you, that awareness of youth is there, health food is required. Only problem is inventory gap. If price increase too much, Everyone feels better not to buy. So there is irreparable loss. Suppose you go to the shop, almond is not there. Okay, give me pistachio, give me others. So forget about almonds. It is not available. Why it is not available? Because it was inventory gap. Why it was inventory gap? Because we have not purchased enough from you, and we are rationing on supply.
Yeah.
You want 1 ton? Okay, we'll give 500 kg because it is not. Ready stock is not available. So why it is not available? Because there is lot of fluctuation in the price.
Volatility.
And you think that India is asking containers, okay, increase 20 cents. Not asking, okay, decrease 20 cents. So that should not be the case.
Right.
India is, as an industry, we want consistency in regular supply. Everyone wants. Suppose we are supplying to supermarkets, we are supplying to anywhere. I am a wholesaler supplier.
Yeah.
So they also need, okay, it should be like that. Give me 50 tons of almonds. They should not ask the rate, because they know that these are the rates that are the prevailing. Every time they have to negotiate in Indian rupees 40, 50 rupees. Every day there is a fluctuation of 10, 20 rupees every day. So how anyone can be a small business person who is keeping just 10 bags of almonds, he thinks, oh, today 10 rupees is lost. My loss is 1,000 rupees without doing anything. Just yesterday I have purchased and today is 1,000 rupees less. So he hesitate to talk again.
Right.
Then we have to consolate him. Okay, we'll give some benefit to you. So it is very, very bad on our part and his part that he has to beg us for some support. Suppose price decrease, then he will delay our payments.
Yeah, so
basic,
volatility
yes. So
affects psychology.
you should not be, when we give demand, you should not increase the price. So you have to be consistent.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
So
not
that
how
is the
demand
problem.
supply works.
Problem with US.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
Yes. Problem, you have to work on your cost, decide on a rate. And like a pistachio, give for full year's almond.
Mike,
Same rate.
Mike, Kaushik,
right. We'll do-
Kaushik is seeing two wings behind you. I don't think he's that much of an angel that you're thinking him to be. You give him demand, prices will rise. Not him. I'm talking industry, of course.
Industry, but
Yeah.
I think
We
it's an
understand.
overall mix. We all
it
as
is
an
always
industry,
demand and supply, of course.
all
but
of the industry has to be
Yeah,
more
yes,
disciplined.
yes.
We don't have to go berserk. If we see a little bit of demand in India, the importers have to act with restraint and
Yes,
not
yes,
go
yes.
that.
Right.
And I mean, similar. I think if the whole industry does that, it's a win-win.
Right, definitely.
Yeah,
It is, but it should be some moderate level. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden, if it is rise and low, then it is always in a.
I just don't think you're ever going to get away from that, right? It's
Yeah.
human nature.
Yes.
People are involved in the business. It's a
Yes.
market. It's a fragmented market. I think that volatility is the business in almonds. But guys, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming out here. Thank you for your perspective. Thank you for you guys' business.
Okay.
And as the market continues to change, we'll keep everybody updated.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.